Welcome back to another episode of Pants Picks. This is a show where I predict the probability in which I think an NFL team is going to win each game through an entire season, and at the end, I come up with a win total that I can compare with Vegas odds, as well as compare with chicken wing expert Bill. Bill, how are the chicken wings? How spicy should they be?
Bearable. Make you sweat a little bit. A little sweat on the brow isn't bad.
I see. And what's your favorite hot sauce to mix it with? It's butter and what?
Butter and Frank's.
Butter and Frank's. And that's all too familiar for today's team. Who do we have today, Bill?
Today we have the Western New York Buffalo Bills. 11-6 last season, first in the division. A lot of pressure this year on Sean McDermott and Josh Allen. Ken Dorsey takes over as the offensive play caller this season. Can the city of Buffalo win its first championship between hockey and football since the AFL merger, since before the AFL merger? This will be will this be the beginning of 4 consecutive Super Bowl appearances? Will this season end like many before it, just right of the target?
I believe that touchdown against Kansas City was just right in the end zone. It was in the right of the end zone, so maybe a right is just not good for them. Wow. What an intro, and is my favorite diehard Bills team. I am going to be picking them in the most biased way. 17 wins. Just call it right now. 100% straight through. No, I will attempt to check my bias as I begin to make these picks, and then we'll come up with something. But let's first look at the schedule. They are the odds-on favorites to win the Super Bowl this year for the first time that I could ever remember. And, will they do it? They've never won before, but maybe they'll do it this time. Here we go, Week 1 at the Rams, a game that I, in fact, will be at and be very excited to watch. And that is a hot pick. Now, I could tell you a few reasons why it would be a hot pick, because it's scheduled to be about 90 degrees in LA at that time, so it's going to be physically hot. What makes this your hot pick, Bill?
Thursday night football, first game of the season in Los Angeles. Buffalo is -2.5. They were 13 seconds away from being in the Super Bowl last year facing this team. We will start the season with a shootout. Will Odell be suiting up for one of these teams? Which shade of blue will he be in? Either way, Buffalo is going to cover, and I'm going to call a shot right now. Von Miller has 5 tackles and 1 strip sack.
Ooh. Von Miller is going to sack him. I am at 50% on this one for sure. So we're going to start with that. I'm fearful. Coming into last season as a Bills fan, I thought there's no way they're going to lose to the Steelers to start the game. And it starts the season, and they came out dead, like a serious dud of a game, and they lost the Steelers Week 1 in Buffalo. I'm nervous that would happen again. I feel like the hopes are so high. It doesn't mean that they won't win the Super Bowl, but I think maybe there's going to be a little bit too much, and the Bills kind of run out of the tunnel and fall flat on their face. And I think the game will be close, but I think it'll look like they leave too much on the field, and the Bills will lose Week 1. And I will be sitting in that stands crying in my hands as it happens. Week 2, hosting Tennessee. For me, this one is a hot pick because the Tennessee Titans have had the Bills' number for 2 years straight. And last year, Josh Allen slips on 4th down, costs them the number 1 seed in the playoffs. If he doesn't slip and he goes in, scores a touchdown, then they host every game. They host the 13 seconds game, and maybe they beat the Chiefs at home instead of in Arrowhead. Who knows? Either way, let's go with 75%. Bills will take this one. They're finally going to get their reckoning on the Titans. at home in Buffalo as their season home opener. Week 3 at Miami. 50%. It's going to be hot. It's going to be brutal. The Dolphins will have some new speed, some new fun toys to play with against the Buffalo Bills. The Bills will be able to win this game, but I'm going to give it a 50-50. Bill, do you see the Buffalo Bills going down to Miami and winning in the heat in September?
Yeah, this one I also had. Actually, no, I didn't. I had this one at 75.
Oh, wow.
So I'm taking the Bills skeerly here.
Easy. All right. Week 4 at Baltimore. This is a big game. I'll put it at 50-50. But I think that the Bills, Sean McDermott and the Bills defense have consistently shut down Lamar Jackson, even though their run defense has been very consistently poor. In 2019, they gave the Baltimore Ravens a difficult time, and in 2020 in the playoffs, they gave the Ravens' run game a very difficult time, even in cold weather where you'd think it would be a little bit stronger. In both those games, Lamar Jackson was a non-factor, and they forced him to pass the ball. And in 2019, they did lose because of a couple blown coverages deep, but I don't think that will happen with the way the defense is now. And I think that the way that the game went, I think they only gave up 7 points in the playoffs against the Ravens in 2020. Did not play them in 2021. So I will take the Bills in Baltimore for Week 4. Week 5, hosting Pittsburgh. I'm going to go with a 50-50. The Bills have trouble with a big pass rusher like TJ Watt. They had trouble with him last year. They had a lot of trouble with Josh Allen on the Jaguars last year. So I'm going to give it a 50-50, but I'm going to lean towards the Bills. It's just maybe as a Bills fan all these years, instead of being biased, I'll actually be so unbiased. I'm biased in the complete opposite direction where I'm afraid that they're going to win games. Bill, Week 4 or Week 5? Why don't we do Week 4? Because I'm assuming you didn't have a 50-50 on Week 5. Is that correct?
Yeah, I had 75 against Pittsburgh.
All right, then who did you pick in Week 4, Bills or Baltimore?
I have it 50-50. I'm going to give it to Lamar in that one.
All right.
I think that even though they don't have Hollywood Brown, I still think that they're trying to revamp something from the previous season, and they're going to come out swinging against everybody's going to be, trying to knock Buffalo down. So people are playing up to them. Lamar will get it done.
All right. Week 6 at Kansas City. Let's go for 50-50. And yes, it is the rematch. Buffalo going back into the sad, depressing grounds in which they have lost in the playoffs 2 times in a row. The second time more devastating than the first, but the first time still just 1 game from the Super Bowl. And they, just like last year, will win this game. Bill, do you see the Chiefs continuing their dominance over the Bills? You see the Bills returning to the way they played them in roughly the same week in the regular season last year?
This one, I have 50-50. I'm giving it to Buffalo. I think that the defense will stop them with 13 seconds left.
They'll be in the exact same scenario, except the defense will stop them this time. By Week 7, Week 8, hosting Green Bay. Sunday Night Football. And a hot pick. All right, Bill, Green Bay. What do they got on the Bills? Are they going to go in Buffalo and they're going to take this one, or what?
Yeah, at home versus Green Bay, Buffalo is -4. If it wasn't that Week 1 matchup in the Super Bowl, if Buffalo makes it to the Super Bowl, it could potentially be a matchup against Green Bay in the Super Bowl. Buffalo is coming off a bye. Green Bay is essentially coming off a bye with a 3-game stint where they faced the Giants, Jets, and Commanders. So pretty much a bye. Buffalo is the better team in this matchup. I think this one's going to come down to the running game on Sunday night, Halloween Eve. A lot of fans in the stadium, dressed up. Western New York. The weather is going to play a factor here. I expect either snow or slush or a combination of the two. It's always a wet Halloween in Western New York.
Of course.
And I think that the running game for Green Bay is stronger, so I'm going with Green Bay.
Ooh. All of that and goes with Green Bay. It's very exciting. If there's any team that can match the home crowd of a Packers game, it would be the Bills. It's going to be wild. 50-50, Sunday Night Football. I'm going to go with the Bills. And I'm going to go with them because of the same thing that you discussed, the running game. I think Josh Allen will be the horse that will pull this team to victory in the running game. He is almost impossible to stop in the red zone with the way he runs. He is a touchdown machine, and they will run the ball on the Packers at home and win this game. Week 9 at New York Jets. 100%. They've beaten the Jets many chances in a row, and they're going to keep it rolling in Week 9. Week 10, hosting Minnesota. This one could be tough. Dalvin Cook could get his. Is Minnesota going to... I don't know if they've played each other since Buffalo went in there and dominated Minnesota, being 17-point underdogs in 2018 when Allen was a rookie. But Minnesota going to come and give it back to them? I don't know. I'll go with 75% for Buffalo in this game. Week 11, hosting Cleveland, and it will be still not Watson, correct? It'll still be Brissett, and with that, it gives me a 75%. I don't think the Cleveland Browns have what it takes to beat the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. Week 12 at Detroit on Thanksgiving, the early game on Thanksgiving. The third time Josh Allen will play Thanksgiving, and I think he's going to get another golden turkey leg, and they're going to win this game 100%. Week 13 at New England. The last time the Bills played New England, they did not punt. They did not kick a field goal. They did not have a turnover, and they did not even play a fourth down. They kneeled down on third down and then faced a fourth down, but the clock ran out. So I am going to go with 75%. I think the Patriots got worse, and I think the Bills will continue to have their number. Bill Belichick has been all of a sudden looking very weak against the Bills, unless there's a massive windstorm. Week 14, New York Jets hosting 100% once again. Now they're going to get rolling on this softer portion of the schedule, heading into Week 15, where Miami is going to come into Buffalo, and Buffalo once again has also beaten them many, many times in a row. I believe 7 times in a row at this point, since the final game of Allen's rookie season. Beat them in the last game, won the next 6 matchups, 7-0. They're going to probably have won in Week 3. They're going to keep it rolling 75% at home against Miami. Week 16 on a cold, frigid day in Chicago against the Bears. The Bills are going to keep their dominance, and they're going to take another 100% over the Chicago Bears. Week 17, Monday Night Football, host at Cincinnati. 50% is what I'm going to go with on this one. And I don't know. I'll take the home team. Cincinnati has a chance. Cincinnati will beat them at home. It's a real toss-up for me. Bill, do you see Joe Burrow doing it, or do you see Allen going away and beating the Bengals?
Yeah, I mean, 2 open stadium, cold weather teams. I would tend to lean towards Cincinnati in this one. I think it's going to be 2 lockdown defenses at that point.
Yeah, hard one to call. Maybe whichever quarterback makes the bigger play or the fewer mistakes, honestly, in that one. Week 18 hosting New England. is a little bit of a situation where you think maybe they wouldn't be playing as much. The AFC East is going to be, or the AFC West is going to be really beat down, and that's where most of the good teams are. I don't think the Titans in Indianapolis can be winning as many games as the Bills, and I don't think that the North, I think they're going to beat each other down as well. Ravens, Bengals, and the Steelers and Browns. Steelers and Browns are probably going to be a little less off. I'll go with 50% on this one, with the idea that I'm not sure whether or not the Bills are going to be playing hard or soft in this game. In these games, I don't think that they're going to be really pushing for it in this one. If they were, I would put it more towards the 75. But either way, let's look at the totals. Putting all the teams together, comparing Vegas odds, comparing Bills totals. Let's see it. Oh, right on, Vegas. We're right on with each other. I tried to be pretty mean. I was pretty mean to the Bills in my mind because based on the way the division's been going, I think all the Miami and New England games could easily be 75%. Pittsburgh, you'd probably argue, could be 75%. And, I mean, that would just be, another half, three quarters of a win. It would just put them at 12.5, which would be not anything crazy. But Bill, at 10.5, what brings you at 10.5? Are you not giving him the hundreds, or I can't imagine you're giving him any .25s.
I only had 100 for them. A lot of 75s, 100, and that was versus Detroit. I think that the Jets. So here's the deal: Buffalo can throw up a flub every once in a while. They sometimes play down to their competition. I mean, that Jacksonville game last year was awful. I think that they split with New England. I think that they split with Miami this year. I would be worried that they, coming out of maybe that week 8 against Green Bay, maybe they lose, and maybe the at Jets, the Jets kind of capitalize on maybe a defeated down team. I think that there's a couple losses in here. I wouldn't bet the over. I think gravity would pull it below that. I can see them definitely winning 12 games, but I can also see them throwing 2 of those and ending up at 10 wins.
Yeah, there's definitely it really. I think what makes it hard to call is how good are the Patriots and the Dolphins going to be. Last year the Dolphins, were they 8-9 or 9-8? They actually weren't too bad, and then the Patriots were 10-7. The Patriots did steal one from them, but the Dolphins, even though the past 2 years they've been winning teams, at least 8 or 9 wins, and in 2020 they were 10 wins. The Bills have just embarrassed them every single time. I think these games aren't even close. And, they didn't change their quarterback to someone spectacular or anything like that. And these for some reason, I don't know what it is. The Buffalo Bills have been just so superior these past 2 seasons in the division. The only thing that took them down was the Patriots in a windstorm, in which a game that the Bills totally still could have won. But every other game in the division for the past 2 years have been complete blowouts, just not even close games. And for some reason, the Bills have played up in their division for the past 2 seasons, because they've gone 11-1 in the past, and like I said, it's just a windstorm, and every other game isn't even close. They're not even remotely close. They're full-on blowouts, like college teams playing against just complete subpar competition. So that's what makes me lean a little bit more on the 75 for these Miami and New England games, because they haven't had any answer to Josh Allen. He's just been being able to do whatever he wants. J.C. Jackson shows so many good games for New England, and then all of a sudden, Stephon Diggs gets 150 yards and 2 touchdowns against him. It's J.C. Jackson's a good cornerback. What happened? Well, I don't know. For some reason, Stephon Diggs just knows how to make him look like a fool. And, I mean, you could say it's not going to continue, but when you have decisive wins like that, it's hard to call. And they did play down, but I think they did play down, like you said, against Jacksonville. But teams like the Lions, I mean, unless Aiden Hutchinson, their defensive lineman that they just got, second overall or something from Michigan. So Richardson? I can't remember. If he's not amazing, then the Bills will do totally fine against the Lions. And I don't think Chicago has a defensive lineman. They have a thing about defensive linemen. Like Josh Allen for the Jacksonville Jaguars was playing out of his mind in that Bills game, and they lost 9-6 because he single-handedly shut down Josh Buffalo Bills Allen. And that was unbelievable. But and then Tennessee, yeah, does have their number. I don't think Minnesota has the team to do it, and Cleveland's not great. And then you could say they split the other, the Rams, Baltimore, Kansas City, Green Bay, Cincinnati. They could you can call those as split games that could end up them being 2-3 or 3-2. I also think that maybe the luck will return to them, as they were the only team, I believe, to have all their winning games by 12 or more points and all their losing games except one by less than a touchdown, and to not win the Super Bowl, to have like 12 or more games won by more than 12 points. They're the only team to do that, to not win the Super Bowl. I think the last team to actually do that was the Rams, the 99 Rams, the greatest show on turf. There was some insane stats of them somehow ending up being 0-6, I think, in close games, and then winning by 12 in every other game. So if the ball bounces their way a couple of times, last year they win 14, and their team this year, I believe, is arguably better. And so I think that it will bounce their way. They'll win 12, possibly 13 games. Taking the over is scary because they're 11.5 is very high. So any injury to Josh Allen, who is a very physical quarterback, if he just misses the game against, let's say, Minnesota, even if he missed that game, all of a sudden they lose that game when they would have won, and that can really take a hit on their Vegas odds. So I don't think taking the over is responsible for them, but they most certainly can either be the best team. They're definitely going to make the playoffs. They're definitely going to win the AFC East, and they're definitely going to be a top 3 seed.
I got one for you.
Yeah.
If they are 3-4 at week 9, what is that locker room like? Because it's a lot of pressure on this team, and that's a very, I would say it's a pretty high, not high probability that will happen, but there is a high probability that could happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's not even a bad outcome, 3-4. I mean, it's not good, obviously, because then they can, if you, like you said, if their morale is still high, they'll rattle off easily. They could win every game from New York all the way to Cincinnati. So what is that? That's 8 wins. They could start 3-4 and then be 11-4, and that actually wouldn't be that surprising if those two things happened. So, yeah, I mean, 3-4 is like beating Tennessee, Pittsburgh, and Miami. Yeah, that beginning of the schedule is scary. So it is all about their resilience, and their locker room
change.
So what I'm going to say about that is, I think they can handle it. They did it last year when they lost to New England and lost their lead in the AFC East, and then they were down 28-3, 27-3 maybe at halftime, 24-3 I think at halftime against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then actually had a 3rd and goal at the 7-yard line to win the game. And they failed. They kicked a field goal, tied it, went into overtime, lost in overtime. So they were there in that moment. After that, they had an easier schedule, and they 4-0'd the rest of the schedule and ended up winning the division. Because in that moment, I think they were down to, were they like 7-6, I think? I think they were 7-6 after that Tampa Bay game. And it's like, well, now you got to win. You got to win 4 games to win the division. And they did, and they won the division. So I'm going to say they've shown some precedence to be able to handle something like that. If they're 3-4 there, they'll win 8 in a row because they're a team that, besides the Jacksonville game, they really don't play down as that much to their competition, as they made the Commanders look embarrassing. They shut out the Texans and the Dolphins 35-0 and 40-0. So no, I think the locker room would be fine. I think they're a very stable locker room. And after the Green Bay loss, that could be rough, but they were there last year. They were living in that world. Even later in the season, with a very thriving Patriots team that they then came back and dominated in those final 4 games. But tell me what you think. Is Ken Dorsey going to be a big issue? He's been with Josh Allen since he came in the league as his quarterbacks coach, I believe, or at least for the past couple of years. He was their quarterbacks coach last year. So it should be a smooth transition, but maybe he can't handle the pressure of being a signal caller. I've heard good things, but who knows? It's not until you actually are facing live bullets that we would know that he's going to be great. As great as Brian Daboll was with Josh Allen. How is the 13 seconds going to loom over this team? They had the 13 seconds trauma, which turns into NFL favorite, Super Bowl favorite, betting favorite against everyone, including teams like the Packers and the Chiefs and the Buccaneers, who have Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. Now this team without a Super Bowl winning quarterback or a Super Bowl winning coach has to go in and be the favorite. Can they do it? You tell me. Go through the schedule yourself. 0%, 25, 50, 75, 100%. Go through every week. Come up with your own win total. Compare it with ours. Maybe think they're going to win 15 and they're going to coast and they're totally going to win the Super Bowl. The odds are correct. Or they're totally overrated and Josh Allen's going to show his up and down play is going to continue. He'll have one game where he throws 400 yards and another game where he throws 150. And they're going to be losing surprising losses against Pittsburgh and maybe Chicago for some reason. And these are... They flounder down the end of the season and barely make the playoffs and lose in the early rounds, and the dream is over for Bills fans. Let me know. Let me know what you think. I'll be very disappointed, but I would love to know what your thoughts are on that. Whether you agree or disagree, send in the comments games you're excited about. Let us know what games you're most excited about. Week 1 is very exciting. Could be a possible Super Bowl matchup, or Week 8 possible Super Bowl matchup. Both Bills hot picks. What are your hot picks? Write them in the comments. Let us know. Make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.